Voids are frightening, and there are many kinds of void. There's the conventional emptiness we can't step into without building a layer of non-void around ourselves, the endless reaches of space, though that's not my focus here. Closer is the anxiety-adjacent void of boredom, but not quite there. No, the void I mean to help fill with this video is of an artistic flavor. The empty page, the blank canvas, the unclicked camera. There's something innate in us that yearns to destroy as much void as we can. You may not be able to fill the space between the stars, but you can fill a text document. Okay, but what do you fill it with? I used to think that ideas were the sort of thing that I was supposed to wait for, like a bus. I'd go to my computer when I felt like I should be writing, open up a document, and sit there until something came to me. Most of the time, it was a boring thing I only chose to write because I was already bored out of my mind sitting there for 30 minutes. Later, like years later, I thought, well, maybe I should just start writing, no matter what sort of ideas I have. This worked better for me, but something still felt off, felt uninspired. It was still boring. There were those moments of true inspiration when I would finish reading a good book and think I could do something like that. Some of my best writing has come from such bursts, but for a while such moments were a rare species. Until I realized that if reading a good book filled me with so much will to create, why didn't I read such things intentionally? Why didn't I record those passages that most inspired me? Why leave it completely up to chance? Thus was born my practice of idea foraging, what I call the process of questing for and recording ideas for later usage. It's something I want to incorporate more in my daily routine, and something I believe any creative should at least try, especially for the purpose of building up an idea bank. And once you have more ideas than you can reasonably create in a single lifetime, that's awesome. You've basically made it. I mean, it's surely a better problem than having too few ideas. I like to split my practice of idea foraging into several categories, specifically into the different things I forage through for ideas. I'll start with something I've already touched on. Here's something we do pretty regularly anyways, whether it take the form of watching TV or reading a book or seeing a play. It's very natural for that sort of stuff to elicit creative impulses, so rather than letting all that inspiration pass by, I propose seeking out works that you know will inspire you and bottling up what you get from it in the form of notes. This isn't to say that you should never again turn your mind off when you sit down at the end of a long day to click on a show, but that if you want to gather more ideas, it may be good for you to absorb art with intentionality. This can go beyond whatever an algorithm suggests for you. Sure, you can happen upon some very good art that way, but I've found that a more surefire path is looking up art in genres you know inspire you, and with themes you know will engage your mind. This can apply to whatever medium you're working in, and I encourage you to get inspiration from across mediums, but I'm gonna go through some storytelling examples since I'm a writer myself. Movies or short stories are a great place to start with this, since they don't have the same time commitment as a show or a book, and they can still pack enough of a punch to flood you with ideas. But as a book person myself, my heart will always belong to novels. I consider them idea gardens, especially books I've already read, since I can flip to just about any page and find a line or a scene that gives me some sort of idea. Of course, I think it's better to take your time with art, but if you're strapped for ideas, for instance if you're working on a deadline, simple foraging may not be the best option. If you can, find clips or passages of your favorite art and reabsorb them, for there can be forgotten details in there that can refresh your current ideas. Or you can get re-inspired by stuff that has already inspired you in the past. Here is a short list of questions I try to ask myself as I absorb art, and that you might find helpful. I don't write down most of my answers unless they feel important, but you're free to write all of them if you want. What ideas excite you? What themes speak to you? What motifs or symbols speak to you? What other parts speak to you? So, dialogue, descriptions, scenes, characters, colors, brushstrokes, etc. What parts brought you the most emotion? How is this work different from your own? Which of your above answers would you like to see in your own art? Your own art, especially art that was made a long time ago, may feel like dead soil. The seeds that were planted there long ago have sucked all the nutrients out of the ground, surely. But you see, while you were off doing other things, leaves and other dead things fell on those old fields and brought new nutrients into the soil. It's these that you're looking for when you're foraging through your old works. What this means, in practice, is going back to old work and hunting for what you haven't done in your art for a while, what you forgot you used to do, and what things you've learned and experienced since then. The older the art, the better, and yes, even if it's from childhood. I would argue especially if it's from childhood, since that's very likely when your creativity flowed the easiest. You will be surprised at what jumps out at you. Hold on to that stuff, and especially that which re-excites you. Let your inner child delight in the sight of what they once made. Some questions that might be helpful to consider. What ideas do you want to explore in new ways? What themes do you feel could use different perspectives? What motifs or symbols would you like to recur in your future works? What other parts would you like to carry into future works, either subtly or obviously? You know, a recurring character or a different placement of the same paint technique? How are your past works different from what you're working on now? And most importantly, in my opinion, what about you has changed since you made those works? It makes sense to look at history. You can find so much love, hate, conflict, and life in the stories of humanity. And philosophy is ripe ground for themes and motifs. But science is not so straightforward as an idea path. That's okay. I've found that some of my best ideas come from the weirdest, least straightforward places. Sometimes they just gotta be uncovered, worked for, rather than spotted. My point here is to try going after something academic, or that feels academic. Doing this will cover areas of reality you don't find as readily available in art, but can still house valuable ideas. Open up a science book, even if it's for kids, and try not to be inspired by something cool in there you see. An interesting species name, a nice method for graphing data. Most ideas I gather from biology, geography, physics, astronomy, and math are aesthetic or just simply cool. Themes, motifs, characters, or stories are very possible to uncover as well. And don't shy away from papers, dissertations, or lecture notes. These can have just as many flashy ideas despite their tendency for drier prose. Wikipedia is a great place to surf around for academic topics. It's a fascinating exercise. Just click on the random article button on the left of the page until you find a page that interests you. Even if you land on something about a pop star or something mundane like water bottles, they'll be presented in a way and with new information you might not have seen elsewhere. I clicked around while writing the script and landed on this page. I don't know French, so I'm not going to try to pronounce that, but it's a car racing competition in, well, France. Much like any big sports competition, such a race could be a good backdrop for a story, or it could be morphed into a broader theme of urgency or speed, or a plot with a competition where one's trying to beat another to a specific location. What if you're having trouble resolving how a fantasy battle should go, and the solution is having the armies literally race each other to reach a nearby fortress? What stories could lie there, even if they only span a single chapter? This is to say that ideas are plentiful, flexible, and can be valuable no matter where they are found or how they are transformed. The weirder and less conventional the source, in my opinion, the better. Some questions to consider. What ideas do you latch on to, no matter how weird or boring they may seem? What makes you want to learn more? How could you directly incorporate those ideas into your work? How could you abstractify those ideas? How could you mash together those ideas for your own purposes? How could you take those ideas and make them weird? Take a stroll through a forest. With friends is good, but safely alone is better so your attention is fully on the life around you. Feel the wind and breathe the air. Feel the sunlight or the rain or the snow or the hail. Run your fingers along the bark of a tree and let your ears catch the hammering of a woodpecker or the call of a crow. Laugh. Dance in time with the heartbeat of a mountain. Be a part of the land and let the land be a part of you. Bring a notebook along for the ride and jot down or sketch what you see and feel. No technology out here, just you and the world. No distractions, especially if you're making art set in a world without smartphones. How can you write something you haven't let yourself experience in a long time? Also, it's just really nice. Like, even if you have no artistic aspiration whatsoever and you somehow made it this far into the video, you should still do this, and do this regularly, whatever that looks like for you. If once is enough, you're probably not doing it right. Once you've gotten your fill of wandering, plop yourself down on a good rock or log or patch of grass, and just absorb. Sketch or take notes as you need, but try to spend a good stretch of time just sitting. Let your roots burrow into the earth beneath you so that you're reluctant to leave when the time comes. Questions for while you're out here. How does the atmosphere affect you? How could you translate that into art? What patterns, shapes, colors, sounds jump out? Sketch them, even if you're not good at sketching, or at the very least, describe them as you sense them. What characters do you see? Can be animate or inanimate, if there's even a meaningful difference between the two. What stories do you see at play? What struggle and what love? What are the strangest things you've seen out here? What surprised you? I saved my favorite for last. Play is something everyone should do every day, no matter how old you are, and whether or not it's for some quest to find ideas. Among the biggest lies we're told in modern society is that play is reserved for children, and if you do it as an adult, then you're a child, derogatory. Why is that derogatory? But play can give us creative energy, exercise the mind, and enrich the soul. The idea that such benefits are meaningless once you hit a certain age is ridiculous. Play is for us all. So as often as you can manage, go out and play. Play games physical or digital. Ever heard of Minecraft? Play with friends or family, or play in your solitude. And now and then, try playing around with idea generation and experimentation. This could look like doodling on a sketchpad until something takes shape, or shuffling cards around until you get a combination you latch onto, or typing random words into a document until something gives you a spark. It can be as simple or complex as you want, as long as what you do has no pressure weighing it down. Play is free, unbounded. For you storytellers out there, if you're having trouble with a character or a whole story, it could be valuable to play them out yourself. Here are some suggestions that by no means cover all the possibilities. Roleplay as your character to try and learn more about them, or interview them as you might talk to an imaginary friend. Credit to Natanya for these. Roleplay as several characters, or enlist some friends to roleplay a scene with you. You might be surprised at what others' insights might be. Write out fanfiction of your own story to see how your characters react to different, weird, or mundane situations. If you're not a storyteller, you could try something similar. If you're painting a lake, roleplay as the lake making a self-portrait. If you're a musician, how might your lyrics want to be sung or your melodies want to be played? Maybe all these suggestions seem weird or nonsensical, but that's sort of what I'm getting at. Pushing your boundaries is the point. Potentially helpful questions while you go through these exercises. What ideas did you materialize that weren't there before? What in your play felt weirdly similar to your art? What interesting things did others contribute that surprised you if it was group play? What ideas were strengthened or developed by your play, and how? What did you add? What else could you try next time to give you a new perspective? And that's all, folks. Well, you heard me. That's all the paths I could think of for now. You could wander down the mall or go your own way, But whatever you do, I hope this video gave you the tools and inspiration you need to go out and hunt for your ideas rather than sitting forever in front of a void. Quick detour down to the corner for cool creations, where I share a cool creation/creator that I enjoy. Sometimes it's related to the video content, sometimes it's not. This time, I want to direct y'all world builders out there to some of my favorite world building YouTubers. I'm getting myself to engage with the art of more such creators, so look out for more world builders CFCCs. And if you've got some suggestions or your own cool creative videos, send them by way of comment, Discord, message, or email. The ones I'll share for now, since they've all got good backlogs of videos to comb for ideas through, are Nakari Speardane, World Building Notes, Artifexian, and Biblaridian. All are pretty big inspirations for this here channel, especially the old world building videos in my catalog. I do want to make more of those eventually, I swear. If you like what I make, you'll probably like what they make too, so go feed your curious mind and click on their channels. Oh, thank you for watching this long. You've made it to the true end of the video. It's actually ending now. This is the part where I take a moment to thank my supporters. So thank you to Abaletian for supporting me on Patreon. Every single dollar helps with this whole thing, with making videos, with making all the short stories and all the templates. Oh, and if you watched the last video and you're wondering about the templates, they are still being made. They are going to be my next big project after this video, so they shouldn't take too much longer, hopefully. But yeah, Patreon, I've got early viewing for videos. You can see short stories early. I'm planning on having like essays over there, some silly little essays. Goodbye. I'll see you in the next video, hopefully, or not. Either way, have a good day. There's the conventional emptiness we can't we can't step into. Potentially up for questions while you go through these exercises.